Hey everyone, Joseph Henson here with Henson CPA Group, doing a quick book live over the financial planning for veterinarians from associate to clinic owner, strategies for a successful transition. This is a little bit different than what I normally do. A lot of times I am talking directly to current owners of veterinarian clinics. I have a lot of people who watch these from practice managers, associates, clinic owners, vet techs. But one of the things that I always like to do is talk to multiple groups of people. So this week, whether you are a current owner, whether you are looking at purchasing a practice or even creating a new practice, this is something that I think you will find interesting. So, as I said, we are talking about financial planning for veterinarians, from associate to clinic owner, strategies for a successful transition. Again, I'm Joseph Henson, CPA with Henson CPA Group. A little bit of an introduction over what we will be talking about. We're going to talk about the importance of financial planning for career transitions. What is the goal of this? This will equip veterinarians with essential financial knowledge. A little overview of topics to be covered: assessing financial readiness, creating a financial plan, financing options for buying a clinic, managing debt, and financial planning for practice operations, and more. First, let's talk about assessing financial readiness. There are a few things you want to do. You want to evaluate your personal financial health, and you want to set financial goals. So, with evaluating personal financial health, you want to have an understanding of what your current financial situation is. You want to know what your monthly income is, what your monthly expenses are. You want to make sure you're reviewing your credit score and debt levels. If you are straddled with $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 in student loans, and you're at a debt to income ratio of 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, we want to see, does it make sense for you as an associate to transition to a practice owner? Setting financial goals, short term versus long term. Short term goal, be profitable. You want to make at least what you were making before you transitioned, or enough to cover all of your monthly expenses plus a little extra so you can live. That'd be short term. Long term goals, that's up to you. Is that I want to leverage my business for the next 5 to 10 years and then sell for multiples of the revenue? Or is that, hey, I just want to be able to provide for my kids to go to college, trade school, not have to worry about being saddled with student loans, not being able to afford a car? Those can be long-term goals. Now, aligning goals with your career aspirations is a large part of this. If you aren't aligned, you're basically flying blind. We want to make sure that you know what your goals are and how you get there. If you're a first year graduate working in a veterinarian clinic as an associate, let's make sure that your first goal is being the best veterinarian you can be. That's one of the things you want to look at. Let's make sure that if it's, I want to move to a new state and immediately get set up, that you know this. That way you're not starting a clinic in one state and immediately moving with the next 2 to 3 years. Creating a financial plan. Budgeting for personal and professional expenses, building an emergency fund, planning for large purchases. All of these are things that you have to have a financial plan for. So, budgeting for personal and professional expenses. Develop a comprehensive budget. What is a comprehensive budget? This is going to look at the next typically 3 to 5 years over what it will cost to have staff, what it will cost to pay yourself, what sort of expenses you are expecting, rent if you don't own your clinic, insurance, healthcare. These are all things that you need to understand. You want to look at the market you're going into to understand what sort of revenue you can expect. While doing this, make sure you are accounting for living expenses and savings. Going out on your own is a risk. You want to make sure that you have enough expenses to last 3 to 6 months in your personal savings. That assumes that you would cut back on whatever you had to if times got tough. But if you go into this knowing that it might be a little lean at the beginning, you'll be fine. Talking about that, building an emergency fund. What is the importance of having a safety net? Times will get tough. Your first winter might be rough. That's okay. Let's make sure you plan for that. Again, as I said, the suggested amount and how to build it, 3 to 6 months. Leverage your current position to continue building this as you know what your revenue is. So you can start cutting back now to make sure you have 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. Planning for larger purchases, saving for down payments on property and equipment, and timing large expenditures. Starting a clinic is expensive. Anyone who says it's not has never looked at what it takes to start a clinic. If you're buying a building, that's a large expense. If you need equipment, that's easily $100,000 and up for good equipment that's going to last you 5, 10, 15 years. You have to make sure you know what the timing is on these. If you are planning on only being a single doctor for 6 months, just buy what you need and figure out the financing for the larger one after 6 months. There's time to do that. Financing options for buying a clinic. You have 3 main things. You can do a traditional loan, you can do a small business administration or SBA loan, or alternative financing methods. There are all kinds of traditional loans. You can go to your bank and get a personal guaranteed loans. A lot of pros and cons there. Typically, you're going to have better terms, but they're going to be more stringent. So it depends on what you want. They're very common. To get a traditional loan, it's extremely common. Most bankers can help you. They're going to have a large list of what they expect to have, along with personal guarantees. The SBA loans, they offer more favorable terms for small businesses. And with that, that means typically lower payments to start out, but they are very stringent. They want a 3 to 5 year plan. They want to make sure that you know what you're doing. They want a personal guarantee of potentially collateralizing your house or other items. There's an eligibility process. Find a great SBA person in your state to see how you can do this. Alternative financing methods, you can find private investors, and you can form a partnership. If you have liquid cash and you have a partner who wants to start a clinic with you, do it yourself. You don't have to get financing at that point. There's also vendor financing. What is vendor financing? Hey, I'm buying a x-ray machine. I know this company will finance this for 5 years as long as I have so much work I'm doing. That's it. Another alternative financing option that I didn't mention is current owner financing. That's if you're buying a business from a current practicing veterinarian. Sometimes they can structure this in a way that allows them to hold a loan for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, but it has to make sense. The next slide we're going to talk about is managing debt. There are all kinds of different types of debt. You have good debt and you have bad debt. Consumer debt, credit cards, is not good debt if you are carrying a balance. Whereas student loans, mortgages, financing for that x-ray machine, financing for the ultrasound machine, those can be extremely beneficial when it comes to your debt to income. What is the impact on your financial health? Well, part of that's going to be that you have to pay interest. The days of 0% financing are gone. You can get them. It's very rare though. In the next 3 to 5 years, maybe that's a possibility. I'm not a fortune teller. I don't know the future. But you have to understand that while this machine might cost you $10,000, if you're paying 10, 20% in interest, that's going to add up. So we want to make sure that you're looking at interest rates that are favorable for you while also allowing for flexibility. Some strategies for managing and reducing debt. Prioritize high interest debt. There's a lot of different methods out there to get rid of debt. If you're paying 15, 20, or 30% because you have consumer debt, strategize that. It's not always the fastest way, but if you can get rid of that, you can then go ahead and continue on paying off other debts. You can look at consolidation and refinancing options. I'm not a huge fan of consolidation, but there are times when it makes sense. So you would take all of your debt and have one monthly payment for consolidations and refinancing options. Debt repayment plans. There are ways to create a structured repayment plan with different people. You can stay very consistent with this and disciplined, and that will sometimes allow you to pay it off much quicker. Financial planning professionals. You need to be working with a financial planning for practice owners when it comes to cash flow management, budgeting for clinic operations, investing in practice growth. Cash flow management. What is the importance of maintaining a positive cash flow? The importance is you never have to wonder if you're going to be able to pay yourself, your employees, taxes, vendors, a whole slew of different people. There are techniques for improving cash flow. If you have terms with a vendor that are net 30 or means I can pay this in 30 days, take advantage of the 30 days to keep cash on hand. Don't always say you'll accept a payment plan from your patients. If you have, everyone has a credit card nowadays, but there are other options. Care credit can help you reduce the amount of time it takes to collect on your receivables. Again, budgeting for clinic operations. Create an operating budget. What does it take to run your clinic? You will have revenue come in, and you have fixed monthly expenses and variable monthly expenses. These are things you need to be monitoring, and you need to adjust the budget for. You don't have a budget that's never going to change. These will change monthly, sometimes even weekly. All of a sudden, you could be doing phenomenal, and the next thing you know, you've seen a 20 to 30% reduction in the patients you're able to see in a week. You need to take that into account. You need to compare your actuals to your budget. Invest in your practice growth. So what does that mean? That means you need to be allocating funds for expansion and improvements. The machine you bought 5 years ago might not be good enough today. The fact that you've now grown to a capacity of working 80 hours a week might mean it's time to expand, and that could mean putting in a new exam room or hiring another doctor. And you also need to be evaluating your return on investment. A lot of times this is going to talk about marketing, because marketing is how you can drive new customer growth while also retaining your older customer growth. Retirement planning and savings. What are the importance of retirement planning? What are retirement saving options, and balancing retirement savings with clinic investments? Most people know the importance of saving for retirement. It's start early and you have compound interest. $1 today invested for 30 years will be worth thousands of dollars. You don't just get simple interest on this, which means, hey, I put $10,000 in, I'm guaranteed $10,100 in 20 years. It compounds. The earlier you invest, the better you will do, especially if you're in the stock market and bonds. There are studies that show what your projected growth can be, and there are studies that show what the difference is between starting now and starting in 5 to 10 years. Today is the best day to start if you didn't start yesterday. And you should be setting your retirement goals. Understand what you want to live like in retirement. There are a lot of retirement saving options. You can do a 401k, you can do IRAs, there are other pensions that are available. There's a lot here. The importance is working with someone who understands these options. Now, you also need to look at balancing retirement savings with clinic investments. Prioritizing your long-term financial security will outlive your clinic. If you are prioritizing the fact that in 20, 30 years, you don't have to continue to work if you don't want to, that will outlive what you are currently doing. And you want to diversify investments. There are some people who are fans of single stock and they put everything in Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Meta, whatever you want to say, Google. You can do that, but that is a lot of risk. You want to make sure you have a diverse portfolio, a mixture of domestic and international, a mixture of stock and bonds. Again, work with a finance professional, which is exactly what we are going to talk about now. So, what are the benefits of working with a financial professional? What does it look like to choose the right financial advisor? And how do you build a financial team? The benefits, you get expertise and you get personalized planning. The right financial professional understands what your risk level is. If you're someone who is 5 years from retirement, it's completely different than someone who's 40 years from retirement. And they will help you avoid common financial pitfalls. Now, what's it look like to choose the right financial advisor? Look for someone who is qualified and credentialed. Find someone with experience in veterinary practice management and veterinary finance management. You don't want to just go to your local person that your dad or mom or cousin or aunt always used, or that your cousin is a financial professional, unless they are qualified. There is a lot of tests that go into becoming a financial professional, and it's something that can be taken extremely serious. I am a CPA. I am not a person who does a lot of investments on my own. I do have people that I trust, though, with my clients to do that. If you're interested, let me know. I'm happy to send an introduction email to make sure that you have someone in your corner that can help you with your retirement and financial needs. Now, building a financial team, it takes more than just a business owner. You need accountants, you need advisors, and you need lawyers. Why? Because an accountant will make sure that what's currently happening will continue to happen or not happen when it comes to your business. A financial advisor will make sure that they see what your next 20, 30 years looks like to make sure you're able to retire comfortably. Lawyers are always good to have on the phone, and you know that you'll be protected if something happens. But with that comes a comprehensive financial management plan. It takes people months to find someone they trust to work with money. Money is one of the most important things we have in our life, and that gives us comfort. We want to make sure that when it comes to building a team around that, you trust whoever you work with, whether that's us here at Henson CPA Group or someone else. Make sure you trust them and that you've built a relationship with them. So that is it for today, guys. A quick conclusion here is just a really quick recap of key points discussed. We went over the importance of financial planning for career transitions and practical tips for managing personal and professional finances. You hit the assessing your financial readiness. Are you ready to leave the associate world and become a clinic owner? Maybe. Talk about creating a financial plan. Where do you see your clinic in the next 3 to 5 years? Build an emergency fund. Plan for those large purchases. Looked at financing options for buying a clinic. Are you going to go with a traditional loan, an SBA loan, or a different alternative method for financing? Manage your debt. Good debt, bad debt, it's out there, but the key is to have a long, sustainable, healthy financial life. You have to manage it. There's a lot of ways to reduce debt, and there's a lot of different ways to structure repayment. Financial planning for practice operations, cash flow management, budgeting for clinic operations, investing in your practice growth. All extremely important. We also went through retirement planning and savings, and how important it is to work with a financial professional. There's a lot there. Make sure you're continuously learning. That's one of the things I love my clients to do. That's one of the things I love, is taking time out of my day to continuously learn and improve. I feel that's the best way to help the people that we care for and that we work with on a day-to-day basis. And you should always utilize any available resources. As veterinarians, you have a lot of associations in the state you're in. You have all kinds of options out there for continuing education. Take advantage of it. My information is always on the screen. Joseph at Henson CPA Group. There are 2 E's in Joseph. I know that one can trip people up. As always, Joseph Henson CPA, Henson CPA Group here. And if you guys have